Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1888. 1888.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hi, my name is Mike. This is my day off. And I'm doing a podcast. It's my day off from work. But is it my day off? It's a not certain thing. Because I have been getting texts all day from people going, Mike, how do you do this? Mike, how do you do that? People don't know how to
Mike's Daily Podcast
exist without Mike Matthews around. I guess that makes me, what's that word? Expendable? No, wait.
Mike's
the other thing.
Daily.
That's what I am. I guess I'm
Podcast.
Expendable. So, 1888. It's good to be here today with you on this podcast day because I'm going to talk about some things that I think you and I can agree are important. One of them is sleep because, well, insomnia sucks. And let's just say all of a sudden you get woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning by, let's see, not your dog, not your job, but perhaps a friend, a lovely lady friend, wakes you up somehow. Oh, I don't know. She leaves her cell phone over and it starts to ring. Things happen, I know. But then you're awake and you're like, even on my day off, I cannot sleep solidly. I can't get a total night's sleep. What is going on? Is it, I think you reach a certain age or a certain level of responsibility, and there's absolutely no chance for you to sleep at all, ever. There's always things popping up. Excuses. All these things. Sleep is so important. We need it. I don't know if you can tell I've had a lack of sleep lately. Plus, it's hotter than blazes here in Podcastro Valley. And the podcast picture today, as a matter of fact,
and here's today's podcast picture,
is what a lot of us Bay Area people do when it gets so hot, and that is we go to the beach. And I went to Half Moon Bay with Basil the Boxer, who will bark for you shortly. And we had a good time. He still, he allows me to walk him because I'm carrying the back part of him, and he walks, and oh my gosh, the people that just gawk. Isn't there a website called Gawker? Well, there are just people that gawk. And I don't know, I'd like to take my phone. Basil. He's in the background of this picture, by the way, as I am getting doused by the water there at Half Moon Bay, Poplar Beach, a place I still take my dog to. And I was kind of running around in the waves, and all of a sudden this big old wave hits me, and it's trying to pull me in, and that's what that picture is. It's about fighting the elements. Gawker. So people just stare at me as I walk by with Basil. Basil's trugging along, looking good, trugging. That's a word, trugging. And they just gawk. I don't understand it. Are they thinking about, the dog they put to sleep way back when that couldn't walk anymore? So, okay. I hate that's a thing, that existed, that people decide to euthanize their pets because they can't walk. My dog still gets around. And he's happy and he loves it and he sniffs and other dogs, it's amazing how other dogs treat him. They treat, it's I don't know, with respect. Yes, the younger dogs treat the older dogs with respect, or the ones that are handicapped with respect. It's strange that's a thing. Maybe with the domesticated dogs, I doubt in the wild kingdom, in nature itself, if that would happen. The animal that can't get around might end up being food for the other animals, but whatever. With the dogs, there's a difference going on. And that's very cool. So, yeah, dogs come up and go, hey, what's that going on? That human is holding you up. What's happening over there? And then they go and they sniff them like a dog would. Dogwood. That's a type of tree that we have a lot of in the South. which I'm not at. I'm in the Bay Area where it's hot and it's a dry heat. And in the South, when it's hot, it's a humid heat. And I experienced that exactly a year ago. I was in Florida with my mom, and we had the humidity. Wow. But it was on this date a year ago that she and I went to this place called Sanford in Florida with this huge, beautiful lake and all these houses along the water, which my mom told me, a lot of those houses got taken out, blown away by the last hurricane and suffered a lot of water damage. But we went on this river boat. We went along to this up this river, and was it the St. Charles River? There we go. And we had this delicious lunch on the river boat. And there was entertainment, music, and then please tip your server. Mom, I thought you paid for everything. Nope, you still got to tip your server. Always tip your server. What, tipped them over the boat? It's not something I did, but I didn't realize how many mimosas my mom and I had, and the tip got to be pretty big. So we had a wonderful time. We didn't see any manatees or alligators or crocodiles or whatever they have there. But afterwards, we did go over to this wonderful German restaurant in Sanford. It's this huge thing, and every kind of German food there, and beer, and they serve it in those huge dunkel glasses, those big things. And I don't know, that's a little bit treacherous. We were outside, and it was a hot, humid day, and you're drinking beer, and it just gets you real drunk real fast because it's processing it in your system. And wow, shits, wow, it's bad. That's what my mom says to me. She calls me Shuts, and she'll go, wow, shits, wow. But this German restaurant also has a little German store with all the deli meats. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast, so we're in Podcastro Valley today. And all the German sausages, and they got these spreads and wursts, and my mom loves all that stuff, so she got a couple things. And it's got this smell in a German restaurant. And usually there's a woman working in a German restaurant who's maybe in her middle-aged, who is not nice in any way, shape, or form at all. Just, what's the word? Pissy, I guess. It's the only one. They just don't have much patience for anything. This is what I've noticed after all the German restaurants and stores. The German restaurant people were nice. Our waiter, food server person was nice. And that's a day in the life of what happened a year ago. But people gawk, and people gawk at my mom because she can't walk like she used to, similar to my dog. In that, my mom is missing part of her leg, and she has this thing that helps her walk. I should get the thing with the rollers. But sometimes she's just on her cane, but she hurt her back a year ago. Because has this happened to you? An older relative getting ready for you to show up because, hey, I'm going to come visit you. And what do? They decide they're going to try and do a bunch of stuff that their body hasn't done in a long time, as in clean and chop down the bushes, chop them back, and try and paint and do a bunch of things. Mom, you got to work up to that level of activity. So she hurt her back a year ago. So I had to help her with a lot of stuff. That was some hard times. So that expression, that thing I remember from Parenthood, from the movie with Steve Martin and the lady who was married to, she's still married to Sam Malone, Merriweather. She is the wife of Steve Martin in this movie Parenthood. Keanu Reeves is dating their daughter. And she says, do you really have to, the wife says to Steve Martin, you really have to do that? And Steve Martin goes, my whole life is I have to do that. My whole life is I have to. And that's not a good way to live. Now, like I was saying earlier, the level of responsibility that you get to in your life, a lot of it becomes have-tos. But you have to back up and go, this life I live, a lot of it is because I wanted it to. I wanted to be in the Bay Area. I wanted to have a boxer. I wanted to be in the radio business, i.e. people call you up for ridiculous reasons on your day off. They text you, "Oh, Mike, I'm sick. I'm throwing up. I can't make it into work." I text back, "I ain't working today, buddy. Remember I told you 15 times last week I have the day off? Do you remember any of that, buddy? Hello, I don't care how sick you are. Don't be stupid. Don't text me." Because the thing is, I wasn't looking at my phone. I just happened to look at it, and the people at work need to know he's not coming in. Yeah, that's the level of irresponsibility some people have. I don't get that. Managing. Isn't that fun? Managing. "Oh, Mike, I was too sick. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I forgot." So, what have we learned from today's show? Well, gawking makes you look stupid. Forgetting your boss told you 15 times that he's not going to be there on Monday and still texting him anyway with something important that the rest of the work needs to know, that's stupid. Trying to walk your dog who needs to be held up in the back end on a hot day like today, that was stupid too. Why, Mike, why? But what do you think about all that? You can call me 3 + 3 = 6 MM Daily. 336 MM Daily. The MM is for me, Mike Matthews. The Daily is because that's what the show is. Oh, and the big news in the radio world here in the Bay Area, there was a station I listened to all the time when I would come to the Bay Area back in the 90s and the early O's. That station is going to die. It's going to go away. K-Fog. It has sucked for about 2 years now. They got this guy, Matt Pinfield. Do you remember him from MTV? They brought him on as the morning show guy. Boring as hell. And he drones. He talks like this. He's got to be in this voice there. And he's just not well. He's not healthy. And he should get out of the entertainment industry as soon as possible and just relax and eat well, because he's not doing that. I don't think, anyway. But so K-Fog's going away. K-Fog is done. It's basically been done for 2 years now. There's this guy named No Name who I hear he lives in Podcaster Valley, and his voice sounds like this all the time, like he partied a lot, like it hurts for him to talk. And people love him in the Bay Area, so maybe you're one of them. But I am not a fan. And it's that whole. So this is the thing about rock music. I'm very eclectic music-wise. I worked for a country station, worked for a rock station, worked for a pop station. But I hate when people get so into this rock world where rock is beyond art. And you get this guy, Mick Rock. His name is Mick Rock. He's got this documentary on Netflix called Shot. Something, the rock and roll mantra, the mantra of rock and roll, something about that. Okay, it is a fascinating documentary because it talks all about how he got into photography and became one of the biggest rock photographers of all time. But he's British and he's got that prerequisite rock and roll voice, you know what I mean? He talks like this the whole time. Oh, by the way, so I have for you, if you have not seen it yet, this is the little, I'll do this little thing. It's a little skit for you. It is, if you have not seen it, this is what we would have. Oh, shoot. I can't remember what. I did this very quickly for my lovely lady friend last night. She goes, "No, I never heard of that show." I go, "Oh, it's something like this." I will tell you what it is in just a moment. Give me a second to remember. Jeez. Okay, so but back to Mick Rock. He just talks all about, he's got all these amazing photos. He knew David Bowie back in the very beginning when he was in the band T-Rex. And he loved taking pictures of glam people. And the guy from Pink Floyd, Sid Barrett, he was taking pictures of him back in the day before he had, Sid Barrett went into a state of, I don't know what the correct term is he had mental issues and basically died not too many years ago. And just he they had to keep him in surveillance the rest of his life. But this guy, meanwhile, Mick Rock, took all these amazing, starting with Syd Barrett. So it's fascinating. If you're a fan of classic rock, this guy's for you because he took pictures of Lou Reed and David Bowie. He knew all those guys in the early days, and he tape recorded them. And he pops in the cassette in this documentary, and you get to hear old interviews. And it's just amazing to hear these guys back in the day when they were young people before they became these legends. And they talk a lot about being a legend, being an icon in the rock world. But a lot of it is so pretentious, what the guy is talking about, Mick Rock, and the way it's filmed. There's just this pretentiousness about it, that rock and roll is this huge thing. That's the best thing that ever existed. And I don't get it. It's just guys getting up and singing songs they wrote. And sometimes you like them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it makes your hearing go away because they played it too damn loud. And sometimes it took all your money because you spent a ridiculous amount of money for a stupid concert ticket. And there was a 1 drink minimum and the drinks are too expensive. And it's whatever. I'm being cranky. But there's some people out here. Let's say hi out to them now here at Cafe Anyway. Right now. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's me, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you
What?
I don't like rock and roll because it's all about the devil.
Uh-huh. Look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now. I'll cut you. Oh, boy. Pink Floyd's great.
Yes, I know. I listened to Dark Side of the Moon many, many times. That's about Syd Barrett. Oh, and yes, David Bowie's great, and I've got albums by him. Lou Reed, no. But people liked him, and, nah. Oh, yes, he also took a bunch of pictures of Blondie, this Mick Rock guy, and the Ramones. Let's wrap up the show. Oh, well, the root beer was delicious. Words and music. That's why I couldn't remember it. It was too close to the subject. Hugh Grant does this movie where he plays basically Andrew Wrigley, the guy who was in the band with George Michael, Wham. Back in the early days of Wham, there was a guy before George Michael got super popular who was part of Wham, and he was a good-looking guy, but what did he do for the band Wham? What was his role? I'm not sure. In the movie Words and Music, Hugh Grant kind of plays this Andrew Wrigley, whatever his name is, character. And in the storyline, the guy that he was partners with, and they became these huge pop stars, he went on to have a successful career, whilst this guy, this Hugh Grant guy, this Andrew Wrigley guy, he just writes music for people. He still makes a lot of money, and he's got this beautiful penthouse suite in New York. And so then he's still writing songs for people. And Drew Barrymore waters his plants. Okay, so she starts watering his plants. This is on Netflix, too. And so I was trying to explain to my lovely lady friend who's never seen this movie how this movie goes. I basically summed it up for her. I go, well, so he's playing music and trying to figure out the lyrics, and she's singing songs, and she says, so I think that you should really, on the next line of this song, you should have the word Zanzibar in that song. Just say Zanzibar.
Oh, you really think it should have Zanzibar in the title? Is that what you think is about?
End scene. So that was it, my Hugh Grant, Drew Barrymore impression. Hope you enjoyed it. All right. Well, Basil's fallen asleep outside a cafe anyway, and I've complained about a lot of people and things and topics and such. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it and enjoyed it, and I hope you realize when life gets odd and strange and has people recreating movies no one's seen, and you have someone in front of you who's angry about rock and roll for some reason, and people that have taken pictures of great rock artists over the years. Back in the day, in the heyday, when they were young and beautiful, Mick Rock took pictures of Talking Heads when no one knew who they were, and the Ramones and everyone else. Just remember, don't gawk. Gawking means your brain is just dead, and it's just, yes, you're processing it. You got to process stuff. It's true. But you've got to engage life. You got to go in there and stop gawking. You got to go and you got to ask that guy who's walking the dog, who is carrying the back of this dog, why are you doing that, sir? What's wrong with your dog, sir? Get me information thing is what I'm asking. Tell me, give me the answer. Show me the data. I need some wildlife. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Thank you for listening. On my day off.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!